So last year, first this was just a grazing paddock for our stock, and last year we decided to plant it out. So we initially started I just mowed it right down, and we took soil samples and sent them away to Hills and got feedback from our advisor as to what nutrients we should put in it before we even start to grow. And we put a bit of gypsum, and I think it was mainly gypsum we put on it. That's all that he thought was required. Then we marked it all out, and the way we've planted this is 8 metres by 4 metres, and we're 10 metres off our drains and 10 metres off our trees, our shelters. We didn't have to plant any shelter. It was already planted, as you can see around. So we went through and marked, and then in July, about the 2nd or 3rd of July, I started digging holes. So we marked the holes out with just bamboo sticks, and then I came through and dug each hole by hand. I just thought that if you do augers, you still have to end up cutting around the holes and roughing it up anyway. So I just did it with a spade, and as I dig a hole, leave about 300 mils of sand left in the bottom. That's all sand here. Left about 200 or 300 left in the bottom of sand, and then I come through and we got a truckload of chicken manure from Whangarei, and it was the freshest chicken manure you could get. It was straight off the elevators from where the chickens are. So we got this, I think it was about 12 tonne of chicken manure, and we got it transported up here, and then we mixed it 50-50 with sand, and also chucked in a whole lot of old mulch we had, and mixed that together. And then as I was going through, I'd dig a few rows, then I'd come back and I'd fill the hole fully up with this chicken manure and sand, put the stake back in, put the bamboo stick back in, and then that was it. I did all of the holes like that, and then left it until that's how the holes stayed until end of September, October. During that time though, I also I went through and put my stakes in for my enclosure. So I had that all ready, so that before the trees came I had less to do. So we had so come September, October, so this chicken manure had been sitting in the holes for probably up, say, 3 to 4 months, I suppose. So it sort of took that freshness away, which I was just told that was a good thing to do. And then I had the trees delivered probably two weeks prior to me starting to plant. And so I got them delivered here. They come from a crowd in Whangarei, and I had them delivered, and then I dipped them all in phosphorus acid. By that I just had a bin filled with acid, whatever the part is, per water or whatever, and I just dipped them in and then put them straight back onto a pallet, and then I left them there, did the whole lot like that. So we planted 275 trees here, and we have a drain separating the two sides, so there's probably half and half on each side. So what I did, I found it easy to just quarter the whole block, so that I could concentrate on finishing one quarter fully at a time, just so that the trees are in, they had the mulch, they were staked right, they were tied right, and they were sheltered right, and then move on to the next one. So we had and irrigated, yeah. So the irrigation I did before we actually started planting. So we have an existing 100mm PVC pipe that feeds the back orchards, and all I had to do was just tee off 60mm for a sub-main, and then I just had my laterals run off that. So the sub-main's pretty much in the centre of this block, and then I just had my 25mm laterals run off that. I was told that a 25 mil would be a good line to go for. And all the sprinklers we've got 100 litre an hour sprinklers, which again I just seeked advice on that, and that's how I come up with that.
How wide do they wet?
They wet probably about 500 around, because all the sprinklers have got the what are they called?
Limitator? Or?
Yeah, they're like a little they're like a little thing that you can remove once your tree gets bigger, and it'll make the water spread more.
Okay.
So at the moment we've got these little blockers on them that they come with them, and they only spread say about 500. So we've got them about 300 off the tree, and it was suggested that you put them on the north side of the tree when you finish planting them. And I can also, with this block, 285 trees, I'm able to irrigate it all as one block, which is good. Planting, I had a bit of a system where I was going through and redigging the holes, so retaking the chicken manure out again to a depth I think of about 500, I think, or just below the bag, whatever the bag was, and I had someone coming behind me and planting it. So cutting around, circle around underneath the bag, and then placing the bag, and then cutting it up one side, and slowly taking that bag away and bring it up. Now the height of the tree we sort of allowed about 2 inches above ground level, and that's sort of all the trees are planted like that, just so it doesn't sink down into the ground, because it'll sink after you plant it. There'll be a bit of a sinkage, so we allowed for that. And then that was planted, and as I finished each row of digging, I'd then come behind, and we had a 25 by 25 mil stake that I banged in next to the tree, just outside of the root zone. And as I was going through doing that, I then had another person coming behind and tying the tree and painting the tree. We painted the tree with just acrylic paint, just to protect them from the sunburn. So there was 3 of us or 4 of us that were doing that, and that was the bit of the system. So once the pegs were knocked in and the trees were tied, I would then go and get our mulch, which we had like was like a side feeder, which was it was awesome, because it sped up the whole mulch thing like tons. Where it was like a tilt bucket, you backed into your mulch, picked your mulch up and come down, and it did like 7 or 8 trees, one side of 7 or 8 trees, and then you just do the same and turn around and go down the other side. And then while I was doing that, the 2 people that had been tying and painting would be just spreading that mulch around the tree. One thing I think I would do in our next plant though is probably extend the mulch out a bit further than what I've done on this. I've really just sort of gone within my 4 posts. I think next time I'll just spread it out a bit further, because it does erode away a bit, and birds or whatever get in there. So that's that mulch is done, and then 2 of us will come back and put the shade cloth on. I had the shade cloth already cut to length, so it was just a matter of just staple gun, 2 people just wrapping around, stapling it up, and one side's got a gate on it, and it's just got 3 clouts down one batten, and they just get hooked in 1, 2, 3, and that's my gate. And then that completed the whole exercise of planting and protecting the tree. Yeah, later on we decided to, after seeing some other orchards, we decided to put lids on them. We had already had lids from previous plantings, so we just went around and just stapled in the 4 corners just a lid on top. Most of the trees at that stage we could put a lid on. There was a few that we couldn't, because they were already above our heights. of the shelters, and just slowly over the next 3 months or 4 months or whatever, I just came out and just checked, and you slowly took lids off because the trees were just growing, and the lids were just making it incapable for them to grow even further. So that was our process, and it worked good, and we managed to do that just with family. We didn't have to hire other people just to do this block. I felt that it was just the right size for me and us just to do on our own.
What time of the year did you plant?
We planted end of September, October.
Okay.
So it was.
And your irrigation, how often did you irrigate these? And
Well, when we first planted, we gave them, I think it was 10 or 15 minutes, I think, of this 100-litre sprinklers, which is what we were advised. And then we didn't really irrigate for probably 3 or 4 weeks, I think. I just kept checking the mulch, and the fresh mulch kept underneath always damp and that. And then we started doing half an hour probably every 4 days with the other lot. But it was kind of like some 4 days they didn't need it, and some 4 days I felt they did. So it was a kind of a bit of a, I guess a little bit, I suppose, but that's how we sort of did it, and from I don't know, probably 4 weeks after planting, I just talked to our advisor about feeding them nutrients and fertilizing, and he suggested that we do 50 grams of nitrofosca extra every month, and 25 grams every 2 weeks, so break it up. So I started doing that, and also after the first 6 weeks I started spraying Elliott, the powder form, WP I think it is. I sprayed that. So since I've started planting them, the first 6 weeks I left them, but from then on I've been spraying that every 6 weeks with the knapsack sprayer, and also every 4 weeks I've been spraying nitrosol. Now I have started combining it because it's just too much, so I just combine the two in the same knapsack sprayer, and doing that. So they've been getting nitrosol and also their 25 grams of nitrofosca extra every 2 weeks. 2 weeks ago though, I had another talk to our advisor, and we've made it 25 grams every 6 weeks, and stuck with the Elliott and the nitrosol every 6 weeks as well.
Okay, and what varieties have you had?
Okay, so we've got Hasson Dusa and Zatanu, just every second, so every other one is a Dusa.
Okay.
And pollinizers, we've got 20 pollinizers, no, 22 I think, 22 pollinizers throughout the area, and the Bacon, Zutano, Ettinger, and one more, can't remember.
How many trees in total?
275.
Okay. Was it Edrinal?
Edrinal,
Yeah.
that's it.
All right.
Was it? Yeah. But I found, and just with the pollinizers, the Ettinger were the smallest of the lot. Like, they were only about this big, and they still are the smaller. They're growing good, but they're just quite small.
All right.
But
Okay.
yeah,
All right. Thank you very much, Mark.
that's all right.
Great.